I know what I need to do to grow and in actioning it without any complaints, because it's inevitable that I'm actually going to be doing it. So I'm not going to complain and make it harder by having a negative mindset. Why make it harder for yourself and have a negative mindset? Instead, go into the hard thing knowing it's going to be damn well hard, but it's a choice and you're going to grow out of it. All uncomfortable things, most uncomfortable things, make you grow and become a better, bigger person than what you were. I feel like everyone is in their running era. And sometimes that can get quite overwhelming because we often do compare ourselves to a lot of people subconsciously without even knowing. This is a video for anyone who is in their running journey or they may be thinking of their running journey. As a beginner still, I just wanted to give a couple of lessons and advice that I have learned whilst I've started running. Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Jasmine and I post health and fitness content. And if you are not new here, welcome back. Today, I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about my running journey, what got me into it, things that I've noticed since starting to run, and just any lessons that I've learned as well. So for a little bit of a backstory, I started running in February of this year, so about 3 months ago today. So I am still very, very new in this space, although as a child I did grow up in a very sporty family. I've always played basketball and AFL footy, so I have always had a background of some sort of cardiovascular fitness, but running is definitely something I'm still new to, but I feel like I have accomplished a lot, so I almost feel like I just want to share that with you guys. Running has genuinely been one of the biggest life changes for me. Not only has it changed my opinion on exercise, because I went from training to look like an athlete to training to be an athlete, because naturally when you train like an athlete, you will be an athlete, which you will look like an athlete. So I've changed my mindset from that, and honestly, rather than having an end goal, my end goal now is health. I want to do what is going to make me the healthiest and happiest version of me, and for me right now that is purely living life with optimal health. And you don't get an award for that, but your award for that is purely living longer. And I am so okay with that. So I have had a huge mindset shift with my training, and it has definitely made the biggest impact on my performance and just overall how I show up for myself, the decisions I make, the food that I eat. You'll find if you are getting into running, your appetite will probably increase a lot and you'll probably get so hungry. Like I am finding I am always hungry. Like right now I'm thinking about the next thing I'm going to eat, because I did go for a run yesterday, a long run, and I feel like my body is like, just fuel. Food is fuel, and it truly is. And honestly, the food that you put into your body will play the biggest part with both your mind and your body. I have always been someone who has had a long-term goal. I've always worked really, really hard towards an end goal. I started off as a powerlifter. That's why I started going to the gym in the first place, was to get into powerlifting. From powerlifting, I went straight into bodybuilding. Both of those sports have an end goal of competing, and I did both. I competed in powerlifting. I'll insert a video here. And then I competed in bodybuilding. I'll insert a video here as well. From bodybuilding, I was a little bit lost. And I find that that is quite normal. And it was because I hadn't planned another goal for myself. I had no long-term goal. What was I working towards? Why was I showing up for myself? With powerlifting, you're obviously going to the gym to get stronger. The end goal is to lift as much weight as possible. Doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter anything else external than to lift heavy weight. Bodybuilding is obviously on the other end to what powerlifting is. Rather than focusing on how heavy you can lift, it's what you look like. And I think that that altered my brain chemistry a little bit, because obviously going from trying to lift heavy to look like an athlete was quite mentally draining and challenging. It did take away from the enjoyment process of it, because I knew that I needed to do it rather than I wanted to do it. But I competed, and then I'm like, well, now what? I don't feel really aligned to compete again. Like I don't want to go through that whole process again. And I really enjoy my food. So I was like, I'm not going to bodybuild again. What am I going to do? I fell out of love with the gym. Fast forward to February 2024, 3 months ago from now. Victor and I went to Bali. So post-comp, I went to Bali, and then we went again in February for his birthday. Now this trip, I just felt this like urge to go for a run. So Victor and I went for a run together, and that was my first run in a very, very long time. But I want to exercise. I want to move my body. So I went for a run, And what do you know? I pushed myself, I challenged myself, I didn't set any expectations at all. I felt great after. Feeling great after did not also. My heart rate was literally at its maximum. So maximum heart rate is 220 minus your age, and my max heart rate is 199. I believe that my heart rate through that first run that I did was like at 190. Like, it was high and it did take a lot out of me, but that was lesson 1 and 2. Lesson 1 was, don't put pressure on yourself when you're running. Don't set too high of an expectation at all with your distance or with your pace that you're running. Literally just do it. Just do it and be okay with however far or however long you decide to go for. Lesson number 2 is, do not compare yourself to anyone else around you. Reason being, you don't know how long someone's been running for. And I remember, like, when I first got into running, so like February, I feel like everyone was kind of getting into their running era, or it was more like January. It was like everyone's January, like New Year's resolutions. And I remember seeing like people running like 5-minute kilometers and thinking, what the heck? Like, I need to do that. If I go any slower than that, then I'm slow and I'm bad at running. And I already was telling myself, like, I'm not a runner. And so, like, when I first did get into running, like, I went for a run with Victor, and we did run, I think it was like 2 kilometers, and we ran at like a 5-minute pace. Now that is like crazy in general. But for your first run, like, no wonder my heart was literally coming out of my chest. So that would be number 2. It would be, do not push yourself. Like, 90% of your runs should be easy anyways. That's how you improve. If you are going and exceeding your maximum heart rate, then you're actually not getting any benefits from it. So that was one thing that I wish I knew earlier, was to dial it back a little bit and go easy on myself, and don't compare against people who I see running along the street or anyone I see on social media for that fact. And this was lesson number 3. Don't run like it's a competition. Running is for you. It's meant to be fun and enjoyable. And obviously, yes, there are people who run to compete and to win medals and stuff like that. But if you're just like your lifestyle person, just wanted to go for a run, make it just going for a run. You don't need to set any unrealistic expectations on yourself that you know that you cannot achieve in your like 3rd run. But more so, do it because it makes you feel good, and hold on to that feeling. Hold on to that feeling of feeling fulfilled and successful because you moved your body. Like, you chose to move your body. 90% of people in this world just literally sit on a couch, but you chose to get up and move your body, whether it's for 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, a marathon, whatever it might be for you. Be proud of yourself for just getting up and moving. My first 5 weeks into training for running, I ran my first ever half marathon, which is amazing. But I think my body did go into a shutdown mode because running after that did feel quite challenging. But that didn't stop me, because the one thing that I was holding on to was how good running made me feel. And that would be my next thing for you, is setting yourself an end goal is positive, it's good, but don't make it the be all or end all, because sometimes we get so fixated on an end goal that once we achieve it, we stop. And if I set myself that half marathon goal and that was like the be all or end all, like, I wouldn't be running today, because that would be my end point. I'd be like, yep, I've done it, that's it. But because I didn't set myself that goal and I did it intuitively, I've kept going because running makes me feel good, and I'm not doing it for any other reason other than that. I've written down on my notes a couple more tips and things that I've learned through my running journey, and I'm just going to read them out to you. Don't try and fit the mold of a runner, because if you looked at my body, you probably would think, oh, she's not a runner, right? Because I'm not like that lean athletic build, and that is so fine. And as soon as you take yourself out of that mold, or wanting to look like a certain mold for whatever sport it is, then you're that. You are that. And I've always said, like, I'm not a runner, I'm not a runner, I'm not a runner, because I haven't looked like a runner. If I can run and I've got runners, I'm a runner. So I just want you to remember that. Like, do not ever compare yourself to someone else who does it already and the way that they look, because even if you did exactly what they did every single day, you would still not look like them, right? And you are you, and you are whatever you choose to be. Something that I have really struggled with though is chafing. Oh my goodness. Every single run, I try and wear different shorts. Somehow my thighs end up rubbing against each other, whether it's sweat or if it's raining, and I get chafing. And I feel like that's what stops me before my cardiovascular fitness goes down or my legs give way. It's the chafing, and that rubbing is the most uncomfortable feeling. I've been told of a couple of products that work really, really well, so I might do an order and I will pop it in the description below what products I've been told to use for chafing. And this is one of the hard things. Running will not always feel amazing. Every single run is not gonna feel like the best run ever, but be okay with that, because at the end of it, you will always leave the run feeling good. You will feel accomplished and you'll just be like, yeah, like I did it. Like whether it's a hard run or it's, you know, windy outside or it rains or whatever it might be, like you will always feel good after you move your body. So just hold on to that feeling, knowing that you will always feel good after you do it. I made a little caption on my Strava and I'll read it to you. I said, I'm genuinely in awe of my mindset right now. I know what I need to do to grow and in actioning it without any complaints because it's inevitable that I'm going to do it. So I'm not going to complain and make it harder by having a negative mindset. And that was my first ever 5 kilometers. And what I said is so true. Like, it's inevitable that I'm going to do it. So why make it a negative thing? Why not think positive and just do it, right? So I just wanted to answer a couple of questions that I've received about running, basically. So the first one is shoes. I highly recommend getting some good shoes. I started running in my New Balance shoes, which I do not recommend. Honestly, paying for shoes is an investment. Honestly, it is investment for your health, but it also prevents any potential injuries with your shoes. Often there's rolled ankles or maybe you've got flat feet, so running can actually trigger that. I think most places that sell proper running shoes do a lot of tests there, so they actually watch you run and prescribe you with like the best running shoes for you personally. I personally have these new Asics and oh my goodness, they have been a game changer for me. I will put a picture here of what they look like. I'll also put it in the description, but getting some good shoes, I definitely recommend. Another question that I get often is breathing. My breathing technique has helped me go from not being able to run like even 200 meters to now being able to run 15 kilometers at a good pace. I started off breathing just through my mouth, and I'm sure anyone watching this has probably been there as well, where it's like this and then you actually, when you're running, you actually and then you just can't breathe at all. That was probably really dramatic, but it's genuinely what it feels like when you're running. What I changed was breathing in through my nose and out through my mouth. But what I do now is I actually breathe just in through my nose and out through my nose as well. This is because when I run, I found that I was getting a really dry throat, which just caused me to actually be able to struggle breathing. So what I found is breathing through my nose and then out through my nose has helped me drastically with my running and just help increase my distance from 1 kilometer, once again, to 15 kilometers. But what I would say is for longer distances, like a 10-kilometer run, the best breathing technique is 2x2 rhythmic breathing. So let me break that down for you. This is inhaling for 2 steps. So running 2 steps and then breathing out for 2 steps. So it's 2x2 and it's in through your nose and out through your mouth. This method helps maintain a steady rhythm, ensures that you are having a good oxygen intake as well, but funnily enough, also help reduce the side stitches that you might get when you go running, because honestly, stitches are the worst. Also been asked what running apps I use, or what apps do I use when I go running. I highly recommend downloading Strava. Strava is amazing for just tracking your distance, but also your pace as well, which you can see over time how much you've progressed. If you have a watch, whether it's a Garmin or a Fitbit or even an Apple Watch, you can track your runs through that, which automatically tracks on Strava as well. So that way you can see your average heart rate. Now, when I say heart rate, these watches, they aren't 100% accurate, so it does make it a little bit hard, but you can see an estimate of what your heart rate is. I highly recommend doing that. A lot of the time when we do get into running, we just try and go super, super quick when we first start, right? Because that's what we see everyone else doing. We don't actually see their journey on how they got there. I've also had someone ask me about my split with gym and running. So if you know me, obviously I've got a huge background with the gym. So going to the gym once was my personality trait. Now, since I've started running, I have found it a little bit harder to actually balance my gym and my running, as right now I feel like my running is priority purely because of how it makes me feel. And I've honestly just felt amazing doing it. So obviously, naturally, I want to keep doing it. What I would say is get a diary, get a journal, and actually plan out what your week looks like. So whether you go for 2 runs a week and maybe 3 gym sessions, I highly do recommend having a balance between the two though, because I haven't been to the gym very frequently since running longer distances lately. Found that I haven't had good recovery like I did when I was going to the gym. So I definitely do recommend fitting the gym and focusing on stability and just overall muscle as well. So what I would say is, even if you do a run, say Monday, Thursday, and then going to the gym Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, or even having a rest day there and going to the gym on the weekend, would probably be beneficial, because that way you've got a good balance between everything. But yeah, my split at the moment, like I'll be honest, isn't 100% at the moment. I am not prioritizing the gym as much as I should. I have been doing mobility though. I have actually, as of yesterday, started using the app Runner. So Runner is an app that you can download, and you can basically put in a goal and it'll spit out a program for you to follow. So you can actually put in your past running distances, how fast you've run before, and it basically, once again, just creates a plan for you based on your goals. So at the moment, I've put in a half marathon. I have been waitlisted for the Gold Coast ASICS half marathon in July, but I think there's like thousands of people before me in the waitlist, so I doubt that I'll be accepted into that, which is fine, but I still will plan to run a half marathon on that date anyway. So I've basically been given a gym session and a running plan, which basically has 3 gym sessions, 3 runs, and a mobility session. The runs are all different. So I've got a long run on the Monday. I have a interval or 1 kilometer repeats on the Wednesday. And then the Friday, I've got a tempo 8 kilometer. And then on the other days, I've got a leg day, a full body day, and an upper body day. So mine does have a good balance. I am making sure to hit all the muscle groups so that I do not create any imbalances, but also focusing on functional movements as well. You have legs, you get to move. How lucky is that? Like, I wake up every single morning going, I get to exercise. Like, I have a choice and I get to exercise. Some people wake up in the day and they're like, I can't move. Like, some people don't have legs, right? And you've just got to be so grateful for what you do have and utilize that as much as you can, right? Anyway, but what I would just say is look after yourself, and I promise you, when you start to exercise because it makes you feel good, you're just going to stay consistent with it, right? But if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, you'll probably have like that quick rush, that quick fix. You'll do whatever it is that you're doing it for, and then you'll just start in square one again, and it will just become a repetitive cycle. So find something that you love doing, and you'll stick to it, and the results will come. But that's all from me. I hope you guys learned something, or maybe even motivated or inspired to start doing your cardio. But I truly do think that it is the most important thing ever. But I hope you have an amazing day. Remember, food is fuel, and I will see you guys in my next video.